It's already the end of the year. Are you happy with your IELTS results? Did you get the band score for IELTS that you wanted this year? I know that students around the world are studying English, but they're frustrated with their IELTS results, and they're worried they're not going to be able to study abroad. Hi, I'm Jerry with Global Connection ESL, and I help students improve their IELTS band scores and increase their chances at international education. In this lesson today, we're going to be talking about 3 steps to improving your IELTS band score in 2020. Before we jump in, would you subscribe to this channel? Please subscribe below and hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified anytime that I make a new video. I continue to make videos to help you improve your IELTS band score. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. The first step to increasing your IELTS band score in the year 2020 is to know where you are right now. You first must know where you are before you can make plans to move forward. So I have a series of questions I'd like to ask you so that you can think about and reflect on and decide where you are so that you can move forward. The first question I want to ask is, have you studied formally? How long have you been studying English formally? This would give you an indication of where you are now and how far you need to go. Remember, the IELTS test is a test that measures your English language proficiency. So it measures listening, speaking, reading, and writing. These 4 English skills are very important to do well on the IELTS test. The next question is, what skill do you like the most? What skill do you feel the most confident with? It's important to acknowledge where you feel strong. The next question is, what have your teachers said to you about your English skills? Did they tell you where you are strong and where you are weak? Make notes to determine where you are now, because your teachers often give you good information about where you are. The next question is, have you taken practice tests? Have you taken the real IELTS test? If you did, what were your sub-scores? What were your sub-scores, and why do you have high and low scores in certain skills? Understand the reasons where you are strong and where you are weak. And one more question to help you understand where you are now is, where do you get feedback on your strengths and your weaknesses? It's very important to get feedback so that you know what to work on. So where do you get that feedback? Who is helping you with your IELTS progress? Step number 2, know where you want to go. It's very important to know where you want to go. You must have a goal. You must have a target that you want to reach. If you do not have a target, you will not hit anything. In fact, you will go far away from your hopes and dreams. So you must write down what your target goal is. So let's look at a few questions to help decide where you want to go and to make it clear. First, do you want to study abroad? Do you want to work abroad? So the next question is, what IELTS band score do you need? Sometimes this requires some research. You want to look at the universities you are interested in, the possibilities for you to go to, and find out the requirement for the IELTS band score for admission. If you don't know what the IELTS band score is, then you can't shoot for it. So you must find out what the requirement is. Next, how much time do you have? Please take a realistic view and answer this question honestly. If you think that you can be ready to have a high band score on IELTS next week or in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, but you are not ready for it, then don't give yourself an unrealistic expectation. Remember, IELTS is a test of your English language proficiency. So look at where your English language is and how much time you need to get those skills to the level of getting a good band score. If your English level is already high and you have done well on practice tests, maybe a month or two is realistic for you. But most students that I've worked with need 6 months to a year before they are ready to get the band score they need. What does overcoming your weaknesses look like? This is an important question so that you can imagine where you're going to be in the future. In order to overcome your weaknesses, you will need to get some specific coaching. But first, you understand what your weaknesses are, and then you recognize what your weaknesses are like if you overcome them. For example, if IELTS writing task 1 is the problem for you, you never get to it because you start with IELTS task 2, and when you get to task 1, you lose all your confidence because the diagram is too difficult to figure out. So imagine in your own mind what it looks like to be proficient at writing task 1. You understand that you can write out more than 150 words in 20 minutes or less with a clear understanding of the diagram. And so you explain to yourself what the goal will look like, and you set it out there in front of you. That's an example of what it would mean to overcome your weakness. Another very important question to ask when you are asking yourself where are you going is, how much money do I need? This is a very important question. If you are the type of person who wants to take the IELTS test over and over again, please understand you'll spend around $250 every time you take the test. I've met students who've taken it 4, 5, 6 times. That's over $1,000 just for taking a test. That's official, but really turned out to be just practice for them. It really was a waste of money. Also, do you have money for taking a course? Do you have money for hiring a teacher? Do you have money to study abroad at an English school before you enter university? These are questions that you must ask before you know if you can reach that band score. And finally, step 3, create a project plan. First, you have to know where you are. Second, you have to know where you're going. And third, you have to create a project plan. In order to create a good project plan, you need to start with the end in mind. You perhaps are looking to get a 6.5, maybe a 7.0 on IELTS. And you've given yourself 12 months to reach that. And so with that frame, in that project plan, you're going to open up your calendar for a 12-month range. You're going to look at where you are now and make some notes, and you're going to put your goal of 12 months at 6.5 or 7. And then you're going to start setting dates, specific dates, and you'll set a goal for taking the test after that period of time is completed. Also, it's so important when you're making a project plan to break down your goals into manageable parts. And in order to break down your plan into manageable parts, it's so important to understand what your strengths and your weaknesses are. When you are taking practice tests, if you take a practice test and get feedback on where you struggled, then you can work specifically on the areas of weakness with some coaching of a teacher, overcome those weaknesses, and you want to do that part by part by part as you prepare for reaching that goal. But it's so important to put it down into a plan. When you make your project plan, you set the date, you break it into manageable parts, and finally, the most important part for a project plan is to take action. Do you have trouble taking action? I've met students who set a date and really set their goals high, but they don't take action on a regular, consistent basis. And so how can you take action and be consistent with meeting the goals of your project plan? It's so important to write it down. Set yourself your own deadlines, and then ask for help from a friend who will say, you said your goal was to do this by this date and this by this date. How are you doing? If you set yourself up for success, then you may reach that project plan and see a great result by the end of 2020. So in this lesson, we've looked at 3 steps for increasing your IELTS band score in 2020. First, knowing where you are. Second, know where you want to go. And third, create the project plan. Each of these steps are quite big steps, and I encourage you to take some time to sit down and write it out. After you've written it out, then talk to a friend and ask for help so that you can make yourself stronger and accomplish what you want to do. I also encourage you to get specific feedback on your weaknesses. This will help you more than probably anything else other than taking action. Of course, taking action is probably the most important point. So, do you think that you can make progress in the next year, 2020, to meet that goal? You must know where you are, you must know where you're going, and you must create a project plan. So, there you have it. 3 steps to getting a higher IELTS band score in 2020. What do you think? Are you going to take action this year and improve yourself? I've worked with a number of students, and many students reach the goal. But sometimes students in the process, they get discouraged, frustrated, and feel like a failure. This is a time to look around and think where you are, where you're going, and to create that project plan to be successful. Do you have questions? Would you like to leave a comment? Please write a question or comment below in the comment section. I'd love to interact with you. Do you have other questions about IELTS? You can check out the playlists that are available on this YouTube channel. You can also go to my website and see more information and resources available for you to improve your IELTS score. Thanks very much for watching. I know the process of improving your English proficiency and getting an IELTS score is not easy, but I'm supporting you and would like to see you reach your success in the new year. Thanks again for watching.